welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see current affairs of 18th March 2025. So let's get started with our discussion, guys. And one more announcement I want to make, we are going to start new batch for prelims cum mains foundation from April 1st onwards. So if you want to join coaching, you can select our coaching, and we are providing both on online and offline, okay? And we do teach from the basic onwards. So there will be no problem if you join our foundation course of our GS prelims cum mains. And if you have any queries regarding this course, you can contact us on the number 8074765513, guys. So now let us see the first article. So if you see the title of this first article, here it says India's goods trade deficit at 42-month low following dip in gold crude oil imports. So this article is talking about one important keyword. The keyword is trade deficit. So let me write the keyword trade deficit. So what is a trade? Trade includes two components. So we have exports and as well as imports. So what is exports? That is nothing but going out. The goods which are going out from a country are called as exports. And what are imports? Opposite to this. That means the goods which are coming from other countries to your country is called as imports, right? So here, whenever you are seeing trade, you will come across two important keywords. First one is trade surplus, second one is trade deficit. Okay, let me explain you what is this concept of trade surplus. Trade surplus is nothing but whenever there are more exports compared to that of imports. So this condition is called as trade surplus. Exports will be more compared to that of imports. Okay, now what is this trade deficit? Trade deficit is nothing but imports will be more compared to that of exports. This is called as trade deficit. And what this article is talking about? The second condition, that is trade deficit. Imports is more compared to that of exports. So actually if you see about trade of India, we will get more of our imports compared to that of exports. And here one more important thing that you have to see is why there is increasing of trade deficit is there are two conditions or two choices. So first one is we are importing more goods. Okay, we are having more imported goods. And second condition is we are importing less. But if you are importing very costly goods, if you are importing costly goods also, it will cause trade deficit case. So now in India, if you see, trade deficit is mainly caused because we are importing costly goods. For example, gold, for example, diamond, for example, crude oil. Okay. So because of this reason, we are having trade deficit. So now what you have to see, what are the dimensions you have to understand? You have to understand about this trade surplus, trade deficit. And this article is talking about trade deficit, right? So you have to see which are the imports of India. So which goods India is importing, and you have to see which goods India is exporting, and even to which countries. Related countries is also important, guys. And you have to see what is the significance of this trade deficit. So what happens for India if there is increasing of trade deficit? So we have to pay more amount of money, right? That will lead to decreasing of foreign reserves or foreign exchange. And next one here is what happens? So we are increasing our imports. That means we are discouraging our domestic industries. Because of that, decreasing of production happens in our country, and decreasing of GDP happens in our country, and even that will lead to increasing of unemployment. Okay, you have to see what are the impacts of this trade deficit also. So this significance part or impact you will be getting question from mains, and these two areas you will be getting question from your prelims. So now let us see this article. So if you see this infographic, it is showing a graph. So this is the graph, right? So this graph is showing that there is decreasing of now trade deficit. Why? Because recently we decreased import of crude oil and as well as gold. So because of this, there is decreasing of this trade deficit happened, and it is a very good sign for our country, because now we need to pay less amount and we can save our foreign reserves. So if you are having good foreign reserves, we can expect good investments in our country. So good investments means increasing of economic activities, increasing of employment opportunities. Okay, like that we will be having certain advantages of this decreasing of import, okay, or trade deficit. So this topic is at most important from your economy, from your GS paper 3, guys. Okay, now let us see the next article. Trade discussions with US, positive says official. So this article is talking about India-US relations, right? So here, from which subject you will be saying this? India-US relations. You will be saying in GS paper 2 under international relations. It comes under part of bilateral relations because India is not sharing direct boundary with US. Okay. So here you have to know about little bit history regarding what is happening between India and US. So you know that tit for tat, trade, tariffs are going on. So if you go back first, whenever this Trump 2.0 era started, he announced that 25% of tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada and 35% on China. And second step, he imposed tariffs on iron, steel and aluminium. So in that, India is the fifth exporter of that goods to US. That means India will be also getting affected because of that. And later on, India said, we are also going to impose tit for tat. And again, US replied, from 2nd April onwards, we are going to impose reciprocal tariff on India and China. Okay, now finally India went for talks with US. So this article is talking about presently how this relation is going to be between India and US. So you have to see the present thing, what happened in these talks. So apart from this, if you are new, then you have to see about history of India-US relations, and you have to see important areas of cooperation between India and US, and you have to see what are the challenges we have in this India-US relations, and next you have to see what is a way forward. Apart from that, you have to see what is happening in the recent past, that is recent developments. So in the recent developments, yes, Trump wants to improve defense ties and he wants to export more defense technology to India, and even he wants to improve the trade to $500 million, right? Okay, yeah, that is the thing that you have to see, that they are the recent developments between India and US. So now let us see this article, what this is talking about. So recent statements which given by Indian Commerce Secretary. Secretary is nothing but an IAS officer, right? So he's secretary from this Indian Commerce, and he said that yes, we had trade discussions between India and US. Between India and US, we have trade discussions, and these trade discussions are going positively between India and US. So here they said that we are proactively engaging in the discussions. That means it is mainly says that India is having a diplomatic strategy, and that strategy is focusing on how to deal with this trade issues with US. And next one here is we have a mission called as Mission 500. So under this initiative, we want to improve trade to $500 billion. It indicates that there is significant escalation in expectations from India and US trade. So already we know that we want to improve trade, especially US want to increase exports of defense to India. That means they want to increase this trade to $500 billion. It is one of the recent advancement. And next one here is this Commerce Secretary also said that so these discussions are showing towards some positive things. For example, we are focusing on creating a conducive environment, that is favorable environment for US and as well as India, so that we can go for negotiations and even we can build trust and we can encourage the stakeholders so that overall growth of this trade partnership can happen. And next one here is yes, we are also coming up with this multi-sectoral agreements. That means in different sectors, we are going to have agreements with this US, so that what happens, we can improve the targets of trade to reach this $500 billion. And next one here is, we are having one great concern between India and US, that is imposing of tit for tat tariffs. And we are focusing on trade equity and as well as trade fairness now. And even we are focusing on providing some incentives for manufacturing. So we are focusing on initiatives like scheme to promote manufacturing of electric passenger cars. Especially we are focusing on electric cars and trade between these electric cars between India and US. And especially in this electric cars, we are focusing on getting of technology so that we can develop in our country, that is domestic production. Okay, so that is the thing which mainly said here. So these are the points that you have to remember. And now let us see the next article. Title says India, New Zealand to institutionalize defense security ties, says Modi. This article is talking about, again, international relations, that is India and New Zealand. So where is this New Zealand is located? In southern hemisphere, right? It is somewhat beside Australia. Okay, now let us see this. Again, the same thing follows. We have to see the history of India-New Zealand relations, area of cooperation, and as well as challenges, way forward, and what is happening in the recent past. Same thing. And here you have to see even map also, because nearby lots of water bodies are there near this New Zealand. You have to see which are the water bodies surrounding this New Zealand. Okay, now let us see the context, what is happening. Our Prime Minister and New Zealand Prime Minister, they had talks. And in these talks, they went for formalizing of defense. That means we are going to improve defense and as well as maritime cooperation. Because whenever we are seeing the countries which are present in Indo-Pacific region, why we are going for improving of relation, especially to improve maritime cooperation, that is to improve safety and security in this Indo-Pacific region. So this is the one sole important aim why India is going for relationship with the countries which are present in this Indo-Pacific region. So in that, one country is Mauritius, that we had discussion in the recent past, and the second country is now New Zealand. So now let us see the details. So this article is saying that we had signed memorandum of understanding. So this memorandum of understanding or this agreement, which is focusing on improving of defense and as well as maritime ties. That means we are going for a very long term commitment between India and New Zealand. It is not at all short term. So whenever we sign this memorandum of understanding or agreement in this maritime and defense, what we can expect? We can have joint military exercises. We can have training also between these two things, between these two countries, armies, navies, etc. And we can also have mutual readiness, and as well as we can have collaborative efforts in providing safety and security in this Indo-Pacific region. Okay, next one here is economic growth. So even they had signed a negotiation, they had discussions regarding signing of FTA, that is free trade agreement. So what is this free trade agreement? So free trade agreement is a bilateral agreement between the two countries. So when they sign means there will be no tariff. So that one country can have access to the markets in another country. So that will be boosting exports and as well as imports. That means overall it will be very helpful for trade and as well as economic growth of a country. So they also had this negotiations on this free trade agreement. So whenever they are enhancing these trade relations, then they can create economic activities, improve economic activities production, and they can create employment opportunities and also increase the level of incomes that will focus on economic resilience as well. And next one here is importance of Indian diaspora. So even as you all know that Indians not only present in India, so they had been spread in different countries. In the same way Indians are there even in this New Zealand. So because of this, it is our responsibility to take care of these Indians who are present in this New Zealand. So here Prime Minister also made a tribute for Indian community. That means we are focusing on social and economic impacts we are faced by the Indians in this New Zealand as well. And next one here is, we are also going for searching of areas of investments where this New Zealand can invest in India so that we can attract good investments and boosting up of our economy. So if you see the map here, so here we have New Zealand, guys. So here this orange part is New Zealand, and here we have two islands part. So between this we have a strait called as Cook Strait. And here to this northwest side we have Tasman Sea. And above this we have Pacific Ocean. Again, this is a part of your Indo-Pacific region. So because of this, New Zealand plays a very important role in improving of maritime security and cooperation. Okay, now let us see the next article. Title says Cheetah Gamini 4 cubs released into wild in Kuno. So actually I think you know about this cheetah reintroduction project. So earlier cheetahs used to present in our country, but they had been become extinct in wild. So now what our government is doing is it is trying to conserve this cheetah species. So here our government of India is bringing cheetahs from Africa, especially from Namibia and South Africa, and they are introducing in this park called as Kuno National Park, which is located in Madhya Pradesh. So here you can get a question regarding this reintroduction project of cheetah, or else you may get questions regarding Big Cat Alliance, and you may get a question regarding this Kuno National Park. So in these three areas that you have to focus from this article point of view, guys. Okay. And next one here is one more article. It is about international relations again. So title says India and Australia agree to deepen cooperation across maritime, land, and air domains. So if you see from last 1 week itself, India went to Mauritius for maritime security, and now New Zealand maritime security, and now even Australia, which is very much near to the New Zealand. Again, we are focusing on maritime, land, and defense. So again, the same thing. You have to see the history of India-Australia relations and which are the areas of cooperation. And here you have to see in which groupings, in which organizations, India and Australia, they are both members. For example, we have Quad, we have G20. So like that, in which organizations India and Australia both are part of, you have to see that, guys. So now let us see what is this article is talking about. So this article is saying that yes, India and Australia, they are focusing on an initiative. That initiative it is to enhance defense cooperation. So in this defense cooperation, they are focusing on land, that is army cooperation, air, that is nothing but air force cooperation, and as well as maritime, that is naval cooperation. So in all these fields, they want to improve their defense cooperation between India and Australia. So if you see the key points that you have to remember is, so we are focusing on strengthening of relationship. So they came up with an agreement to deepen cooperation, especially between these two nations in light of geopolitical dynamics. Actually, in Indo-Pacific region, there is increasing of foreign countries' influence, especially Western countries, European countries. They are showing their increased influence in this region. So because of this, now India and Australia they can come together so that they can focus on how the shifting of the geopolitical things is happening in this Indo-Pacific region. And next one is whenever they're talking about defense cooperation, they can have this bilateral defense exercise. Okay, they are focusing on conducting of more integrated and multifaceted military operations. And next one here is we are also focusing on collaboration with advanced technology. So they are focusing on science and technology collaboration, and especially we are focusing on enhancing of military capabilities, and we are focusing on improving of cyber security and artificial intelligence, etc. And we are focusing on especially resource optimization and resource efficiency as well, and we are focusing on even multilateral security frameworks. Okay, so these are the things that you have to remember. And now let us see the next article. Title says Supreme Court to examine petition on CAG appointment process. So actually this topic is important from your polity from GS paper 2. So in polity you will be coming across this CAG, that is Controller Auditor General. So actually it is one of the constitutional body that we have. Okay, so what you have to see, guys? So you have to see about CAG. First of all, you have to see about articles in our constitution talks about CAG, and you have to see what is the appointment process, and you have to focus very much on this appointment process because now Supreme Court is going to review about this appointment process. Because of this, you will be having a chance of getting question regarding appointment process of this CAG. Appointment process, and what is a select committee and who are the members of the select committee, and you have to see What are the powers and functions of this CAG? And next you have to see whether the person who had been appointed at this CAG will be eligible for reappointment or not. So what is the tenure? So what are the allowances? What are the salary? So all these things you have to know. And next one is Supreme Court. So Supreme Court is also the part of your syllabus, right? In your judiciary and polity, you will be coming across the Supreme Court. So you have to see about judges of Supreme Court. We have Supreme Court, we have High Court, and we have district courts or subordinate courts. So here we have judiciary, that is topmost court. So we have to see about Article 32 here, and other articles in our constitution talks about Supreme Court, and you have to see about CJI, that is Chief Justice of India, and you have to see about other judges of Supreme Court, okay, other Supreme Court judges, and what is the appointment process, and you have to see about collegium system, and you have to see about what are the challenges faced by Supreme Court and what are the measures can be taken. And here you have to say about even acting judges, ad hoc judges, etc. So all these are the very important concepts that are very much clearly given in your book. So you can refer to your Lakshmikant. And once Supreme Court gives the judgment, we will be getting lots of articles regarding if there is any changes or not in this appointment process. There again, you have to update with what are the new appointment process or new judgment of Supreme Court regarding this appointment. Okay. So as of now, you have to focus on what is written in your Lakshmikant. If there is any addition, I will let you know. Okay. And now let us see the next article. Title says how climate change is affecting India's wheat production cycle. So here where you can see this topic, wheat. Wheat you will be seeing in your geography, especially in your Indian geography, you will be studying about crops in India. And you know that major crops which are grown in India are rice and wheat. So normally if you see, so rice is grown in South India and wheat is grown in this North India especially. And in the crops we have different types of crops like kharif crop and rabi crop and ziyad crop. And wheat it is grown in rabi season, that is nothing but winter grown crop. So here this article is saying that yes, climate change is happening. Because of this climate change, yes, there will be an impact in wheat production in India. Normally during which season we will be growing this wheat? That is normally in the winter season, right? So this article is saying that in the month of February, India recorded very high heat. That is like high when we are comparing with 124 years. When we are comparing with last 124 years, in this year, in the month of February, we got high recorded heat. And what happened because of this now IMD, that is Indian Meteorological Department, which is giving a warning. That is saying that, yes, now we are experiencing above normal temperature. So because of this, normally in the month of March, we will go for harvesting of this wheat. At that time, we have to maintain like normal moderate temperature is required. But whenever temperature is high means it will be affecting of crop. So this is the thing which mainly said. Okay, and in which regions this wheat is grown? If you see the second paragraph, they said that northwestern parts of Indo-Gangetic plains, especially in UP, Punjab, Haryana, and MP, this crop is grown. And this wheat needs cooler season to grow. And crop is normally sown between October and December. When it will be harvested? Harvested between the months of February to April, and it is the Rabi season. Okay, so in this time, whenever there is increasing of temperature, means obviously it will be affecting the harvesting of this wheat. So that is the thing which mainly said. So here you have to see about especially wheat and what are geographical conditions which are required for the growing of wheat, and you have to see in which soil we can see this growth of this wheat and in which state. So there are 4 states which are given, so you can remember that. Okay, that is the thing that you have to remember, nothing more than that. And now let us see the next topic. Okay, title says a jab in time. India must push for vaccination against flu for elderly. So I think 2 days ago we discussed about this topic called as vaccination for elderly. Yes or no? So again now we got the same article as an editorial. So this article is saying that there are some reports. So these reports are saying that there is increasing of influenza, flu, cold like thing, sneezing, running nose, like that. So there is increased cases of seasonal influenza cases in Delhi region. In Delhi, there is increased influenza cases which had been seen in elderly people. So again, it is one of the cautious note. So this article is saying that we have to improve vaccination, especially we have to push adult vaccination in the country, because what happens, it is contagious means nothing but it will be spread very fastly. If one is getting, if it is rapidly spreading means it may cause one more pandemic. So because of this we can stop this by giving especially vaccines. And if you see some important points that you have to see is, it is a contagious respiratory illness caused by virus. It is not causing by bacteria, it is caused by virus. You have to remember this. And next one is, what are the signs and symptoms of this? Sudden cough you may get, sore throat, high fever, body pains, body aches, headaches, fatigue, and stuffy nose. So these are the some important signs and symptoms of this flu. Okay, so that is the thing that you have to remember, nothing more than that. And next article, let us see this. It is very important, guys. Title says the barriers faced by construction workers. So construction workers means the people who are working in these construction sites. They will be normally day wage or daily wage laborers. So will they comes under formal economy? No, they will comes under informal economy or unorganized sector. So if they are coming under unorganized sector, do they have any social security? No, they don't have any social security. So those are the problems which are highlighted in this article. So if you see this first paragraph, you will be getting data, guys. So actually this article is saying that construction is the fastest growing sector, and this sector is contributing about 9% to our national GDP. Write down somewhere. And next one is, it is going to reach $1.4 trillion by 2025, and even by 2030 around 3 crore workers are estimated to work in this sector. Okay, so this is the data regarding what is this construction sector and how many people are working here and what is their contribution to GDP. And now let us see this article clearly. So if you see the context, so this article is saying that construction sector is expanding rapidly in India, and it will be like 3 crore people who will be working in this sector alone by 2030. So here that means, if you see, this sector is contributing a lot for our economy, especially in this 2025 around $1.4 trillion they are adding to the GDP, and even they are providing economic growth and as well as employment opportunities in India. And if you see about the problems regarding employment, do they get everyday employment here? No. So the employment opportunities in this construction sector are like unstable, they are fragmented. So only if they want these people to work, they will come to that site and they will be taking these people for the work, right? That means they are having lot of insecurity. They don't know whether they are going to get this opportunity on that day or not. There is a lot of uncertainty in these construction workers. And even actually government is also providing welfare funds for this construction, but most of the time, so these funds are like underutilized, they are not utilized properly. And what is the problem here is, so there is a documentation problem. So we don't have the proper clear cut data regarding this construction laborers. Okay, many laborers, they will be navigating and they will be moving from one area to another area. So if you see construction sites in India, especially in Hyderabad and Telangana state, so who will be the workers coming from other states like Bihar, Jharkhand? So from other states, the people are coming and working in these construction sites. So if they are moving from one place to another place, so will we can make the proper data? No. So that is a one important problem. So these people, they migrate very frequently. So whenever they are migrating frequently, can they write a permanent address? No. So they will not have the proper permanent address, and they don't have proper registering of some essential documents as well. So because of this, what are the welfare benefits government is trying to provide, even they are not taking that because of economic disruptions, because of lack of awareness, lack of literacy, and even lack of documents, everything. So here this article is saying that we have to go for improving of skill development in these people. Okay, especially whenever we are going for the skill development, we can improve this productivity and even we can encourage these workers to remain in the sector so that they will be getting at least a stable work in this construction sites. And next one here is this article is also saying that we have to come up with some reforms in this section, especially construction sites, so that we can go for unified national labor identification system, so that we can streamline the process and we can enhance transparency and even we can increase accessibility of the benefits to these people. So this is the way forward. And now let us see the next article. So this article, it is about electoral reforms. So this article is important from your Election Commission of India. So Election Commission of India, where you will be studying in your polity, which is an example of constitutional body. So which article is talking about this Election Commission of India? It is Article 324. So what this article is saying that Article 324 of the Constitution, which provides superintendence, direction and control of preparation of electoral rolls and conduct of all elections for parliament and state legislature. So it is the power of this Election Commission of India under Article 324. So it will be conducting, it will be controlling, it will be preparing for this electoral rolls. So actually the problem here is election process is having certain challenges. So many a times the voter turnout will be less, and even there are some allegations against this electron voting machines like that. So because of this article is saying that first we have to focus on addressing of problems regarding campaigning. For example, whenever people who are in power, whenever they are going for campaigning, so they will be using some government related properties also. So that is called as like big personalities, whenever they're going for campaigning, it is called as star campaigning. So you have to address the star campaigning first, and even we have to ensure that so whatever the campaigning related expenditure will be there, so government should provide that so that there will be no illegal thing, or like we can focus on transparency in this electoral funding as well. And actually here this article is also saying that whenever we are using this EVM, so we have to use this VVPAT, that is nothing but the slips that will come whenever you press this vote button. Okay, and whenever we are going for calculating of votes along with EVMs, we also have to check this VVPATs as well. That's the thing which mainly said here. So just see about electoral reforms. So even in your Polity Lakshmikant book also there is a chapter called as electoral reforms, and you have to see what are the changes that are made by Election Commission of India so far regarding making these elections free and fair. Okay, if you see that, then it is more than enough. And there is one more article in your newspaper, it is about inflation. So recently, I think 3 to 4 days ago, we discussed about retail inflation, and now it is about wholesale price inflation. So inflation is nothing but there is increasing of price of goods in the market. And in this inflation, you have to see about types. We have consumer price or retail price. Next one is WPI, that is wholesale price. So wholesaler is a person who will be buying this goods at a bulk from directly manufacturer. So at this manufacturer level, whenever there is increasing of price, that is called as wholesale price inflation. And how can we measure this inflation at the wholesale price? That is called as wholesale price index. So just see those details. That's it. Nothing more than this. Every month we will be getting the CPI and as well as WPI in news. Okay. So these are some important articles that appear in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much, guys. And please do join this prelims cum mains foundation course. And if you have any queries, you can directly meet me, and I will be staying in the office from morning 9 o'clock to even till 7:30 or 8. I will be available in the office. So you can come and you can visit our academy, which is in Ashok Nagar, Hyderabad. So thank you so much, guys, and do subscribe to Rathor's IS Academy. Don't forget.